A hero is somebody who usually cares about other people and helps them if they need a lot of help.
People who can move outside of themselves and see the needs of others.
You could be little or big. I'm only 6 years old and I'm a hero.
They turn a light on, even if it's a glimmer of a light. It's something to walk towards.
It's been said that real heroes guide entire cultures, reminding us of the importance of courageous compassion as a core value of a world that works for all of us. Their stories remind us to care, to rise above our personal fears, and make a difference. In the early 1980s, a writer in New York began to look for and tell the stories of people who could be, for our own times, those shining exemplars of brave service. She was sure that the well-being of society was being harmed by a barrage of news that engendered unreasonable levels of personal fear and despair. She would not look for trivial, fluffy good news, but for the stories of people who were making solid headway on the serious problems that faced us.
It's very anxious to be a model community in terms of openness to all peoples of all races, creeds, and colors.
2 decades later, the Giraffe Heroes Project has found and told the stories of over 1,000 people, placing them in broadcast and print media, in schools, and in speeches and workshops that bring people all over the world the project's practical knowledge of how to bring about positive change. There are giraffe heroes in every one of the United States and in 25 other countries.
This man was not breathing. We were 20 miles.
Their stories have been told to hundreds of thousands of school children, from kindergarten to high school, inspiring them to become tomorrow's heroes.
You don't have to do things just like they've done to be a giraffe. You can be a giraffe in your own way.
Their stories have also inspired readers and audiences around the world, showing them that courageous, compassionate action is the way to living a meaningful life.
I have an inherent belief that inside everybody there's a giraffe waiting to get out.
Who are these giraffe heroes? And what does it mean to them to be commended as heroes? Some have said that the commendation gave them the strength to go on when they thought no one noticed or cared. Casey Rood, a conscientious nuclear safety inspector, said that he was often tempted to give up. His efforts were so resisted and the blowback against him so severe. But he'd remind himself that he was a giraffe, and he kept on sticking his neck out for our safety. Many giraffes have gotten new funding and support for their work.
We're hoping to save this generation. We've lost one generation to drugs, and if we don't do something, we're losing an entire generation to hunger.
Carol Porter, who founded a pioneering private Meals on Wheels program for hungry kids, said that her giraffe commendation brought her work over $1 million worth of public support. Let's hear from a few giraffes across the country who would like to say a few words to us. Azim Khamisa's son was shot and killed by a 14-year-old in a gang initiation murder. He reached out to the shooter's family and formed an alliance to stop the violence, going into schools with the killer's grandfather to talk with kids about nonviolence.
I wanted to acknowledge the fine work that you are doing along with your team, and also to encourage you to continue this work, because I truly believe that all of the giraffe heroes are very ordinary people. So I want to thank you for acknowledging Ples and me as giraffe heroes, but more so, I want to acknowledge you for the fine work that you are doing all over the world.
Fran Peavy was honored for driving a truck into war-torn Yugoslavia, filled with thousands of gifts and messages from Americans who wanted to express their support for the victims of that war. She also makes regular trips to India to assist in efforts to clean up the pollution of the Ganges River.
I'm everlastingly grateful to the Giraffe Society for giving me the award. It helped me think of myself differently and my work, and helped me be a little bolder.
Way back in 1984, before he became a household word, Patch Adams was one of the first people commended as a giraffe for his founding of the Gesundheit Institute, providing free medical care to anyone who needed it.
Gesundheit, where we're building our hospital, has been taking the giraffe information into the local school. You would have loved it. They spent all year where if the kid was caught chewing gum, They had to put in a nickel to a fund that would be donated to us. So the kids intentionally were caught chewing gum, so they'd have to put money into the project. So John and Ann and all the precious people at Giraffe, let's grow old together and be a damn nuisance for greed.
Julia Butterfly Hill went up into a redwood and lived there for over 2 years to prevent its being cut down, and to bring the world's attention to the destruction of these irreplaceable parts of our natural heritage.
I think that a lot of times, especially in our mainstream media, we have a lot of focus on what's wrong. So much so that I think that what's wrong is beginning to define us. And so it's really exciting to have projects like the Giraffe Project that highlight what's right, to help us inspire and motivate our own potential, and to realize that each and every one of us not only can make a difference, but do make a difference. And how wonderful it is that each and every one of us, within our hearts and our spirits and our actions, have the power to make a positive difference in the world.
We have not even to risk the adventure alone, for the heroes of all time have gone before us. The labyrinth is thoroughly known. We have only to follow the thread of the hero path. And where we had thought to find an abomination, we shall find a god. And where we had thought to slay another, we shall slay ourselves. And where we had thought to travel outward, we shall come to the center of our own existence. And where we had thought to be alone, we shall be with all the world.